Hello everybody, welcome back to a brand new video. Thank you guys so much for 700 subscribers. I'm currently at 721, which, compared to my last subscriber special videos, that were either just one subscriber too early or 50 too late. So this is somewhat of an improvement. But no, seriously guys, thank you so much. I personally never thought I'd get here. And I will continue to say that every time we reach another milestone, so get used to it. And you guys wanted to hear about my political journey, so I'm going to do it. And as you can see by the thumbnail, yes, and as the picture on your screen now, I used to be a far-right Republican, despite being... I've always been a pro-LGBT Republican. Always have been. But when I was in my high school years, younger, like sophomore and junior year, that's when I really started getting into politics again. Because I've always been interested in politics, like, even from a young age. I remember the 2012 election. I was like, man, I hate Obama, but I hate Mitt Romney. I didn't know that there was a thing called third-party candidates at the time, and I was like, is this really the best we got? And I was understanding why my mom never voted, because, you know, my family did not vote, didn't want to get interested in any of that at all. And I was starting to understand why with, you know, Obama and Mitt Romney as the nominees for the Democrat and Republicans. And I didn't even know there was such a thing as Democrat and Republican at the time either. And then 2016 rolled around, 4 years of not really paying attention to politics because, you know, when you're at that age, you know, and even some voters nowadays don't realize that there's also elections in between the presidential ones, or if there's even elections outside of the presidential ones. I think more people are starting to understand that now, but yeah, when 2016 rolled around, I heard Donald Trump was running for president. I was like, ain't no way Donald Trump is running for president, because I knew Donald Trump from pro wrestling, from WWE, watching WrestleMania 23 and watching Donald Trump shave Vince McMahon's head. That was where I knew Donald Trump. I liked Donald Trump because of that. Again, I didn't realize that it was all scripted until when Trump started running, but still, I didn't think Trump was going to get far, and he did. 2016 rolled around, it was Hillary Clinton versus Donald Trump, and I thought the very clear one. Sorry, my microphone unplugged, and I didn't realize. This was like 8th grade year, and the majority of the class, whether it was for meme reasons, because everybody in the class memed the fuck out of Donald Trump, right? Like, every single person was like, yeah, we're going to build the fucking wall. Hell yeah, we're going to build a wall. China, bomb the fuck out of ISIS. Shit like that. We memed the shit out of this man. But I don't think many people realized that Trump was going to win, right? I figured Trump was going to win, like, big time, but I didn't think he was going to win, like, Rust Belt states. I thought he was going to win, like, Nevada, Arizona, Colorado, New Mexico, right? He was going to have, like, a 2004 style victory. Like, he might win Iowa and Ohio, but that was it, right? And then when Trump won, you could feel the animosity in the room. Like, the people who memed Donald Trump and wanted Hillary to win, yeah, they were quiet as flowers. I don't know what the saying is, but I was like, yeah, I knew Trump was going to win, because, I don't know, I'm a sarcastic, smart-ass 8th grader. What do you want from me? And then I got out of politics again for a little while, and then 2019 rolled around, and I was starting to get back into it. And I was still very much a pro-LGBT Republican, always have been most of my life. When I started realizing what that was, you could say I was groomed or whatever, don't care. But, I didn't know that there was 2019 elections. I ran into this YouTuber by the name of Let's Talk Elections. He was my very first political YouTuber I had ever watched. And I credit my, you know, political videos to him, right? Because, you know, ever since I saw him doing it, I wanted to do it. For some reason, I didn't understand why he kept having Trump lose all these elections. I didn't understand what polling was. I didn't understand what, you know, like any sort of trends were. I didn't understand any of that. I thought this was all heebie-jeebie bullshit that you can just make a prediction on, right? I understood the basics. If you go back on my Chaotic Central channel, look at my very first political video, I think it was Donald Trump versus John Delaney. I think it was Donald Trump versus John Delaney. I'm not gonna lie. But, Either that or it was LBJ versus Nixon, like an alternate election video, like in 1968. I don't remember. It was one of the two, and oh my god, it was cringy. But no. And then I ran into Red Eagle politics, and this was before Red Eagle turned into like a cultist, right? This is when he was like, his rhetoric was very calm. He still talked about needing a new, fresh face, like primarying people, but it was not as lunacy, right? There wasn't much lunacy behind his words as there is now. Not saying he's a lunatic, it's just the way he speaks has changed drastically, right? It's clear he was very less favorite on appealing to nut jobs and just doing it because he enjoyed it or doing it because that's what he truly believed. And then 2020 happened. Don't think we need to talk about 2020. There is a video where I'm making the ugliest face as the thumbnail. I think it's still on YouTube. I don't know. But around the time of 2020, I had some policy positions that I no longer share. Like, I was very far right on abortion. I was like, yeah, there should not be any abortion ever, right? None of that. And I didn't understand at the time of like, what about the death of the mother, right? I've gone to the left on abortion. I'm very much pro-exceptions. I'm still more leaning towards the pro-life side of things. Very much a, third trimester ban. Second trimester, you have exceptions, and then you pro-choice on first trimester, if you want to call it that. I feel like that's a great compromise. It's very vague because I like to do things vague nowadays. My economics have gone from libertarian to populist. I always got the two confused when I was younger because I supported a flat tax based off of Ben Carson's like tithing economic policy. I thought that was populist. It's not. I did more research on it. The dog is getting in the trash. And I didn't understand. Back when I was younger, I did not do research on any of this shit. If I liked the politician, I supported their policies, kind of like a lot of people nowadays. But that's not me anymore, So I changed up. I did more research on a progressive tax code, and that's what I support nowadays is a progressive tax code like Trump did. So, yeah, like, I look back on a lot of things that I supported that was far right, and when 2020 happened, I was very much like, was the election rigged? I did all this research on it and all this, and I didn't say anything about it for like a month straight, right? I didn't know whether, like, to say, yeah, it was rigged, or no, it wasn't rigged. And I was in a civics class at the time. I was the only Republican in this civics class. And me and the most progressive student there would always get into it. Not like physical or anything. It wasn't aggressive at all. We just had a debate. And the teacher was very much always into it. Like, he enjoyed it. And he was a left-leaning independent. Me and him would always have these talks. And all of my talks would be, yeah, populism is the future of this country. He disagreed, but I was hammered that shit down. This was at the time Jim Justice was not my favorite politician. I don't remember who it was, but it was not Big Jim. I know, blasphemous. Oh shit. So I just moved my chair back and I hit Rocky, my dog. I'm so sorry. Yes, if you can't tell, I'm not editing any of this out. This is just very much podcast-like. It's just, I hope you enjoyed it. I don't know how long I'm going to go for. I was thinking 20 minutes. And he asked me straight up, I was like, Parker, what do you think Trump should do right now? And I was like, this was before they called Pennsylvania for Biden, right? This was before Biden hit 270. He was at like 265, I think. And I said, I think Trump should concede. It's clear he's not going to win. Of course, I was under the assumption that Trump was going to do that because that was what people did, right? People conceded when they lost, unless you're Stacey Abrams. Because I figured Trump's not going to talk shit about Democrats for calling rigged elections and then do the same thing himself, right? He's not gonna. And then he did it. And then around Christmas time, I was like, okay, enough's enough. And then I made a rant about, because, I was very much so terminally online. It was like, come on, guys, like, this shit is ridiculous. You can't really believe that the election was rigged because you lost, right? People were like, unsubscribe and shit like that, and I was like, cool, I don't care. This was around the time where a bunch of left-leaning individuals started flooding into my channel because, I started this whole transition to becoming a moderate populist, right? And I used to describe my ideology as centrist progressivism. That is further from the truth as anything could be. The term moderate populist is a much better term than centrist progressive, right? I think we can all agree on that. Um, and so, yeah, I just had this huge journey of like understanding what was going on. I didn't want to do anything with politics. I think everybody was burnt out after 2020. I was burnt out. I took like a month. I took a couple weeks off. I don't remember how long I was out for, but I needed a break. I needed a break. I don't know how long it was. I just needed one. And then the whole 2021 elections happened. I was looking at Curtis Silva in New York City, Glenn Youngkin in Virginia. I fucking hate this Jack Ciattarelli, and I still despise the man to this day. I think he's an establishment politician that people are just jumping on behind because he did so well in Virginia, which anyone else would have done better. Yes, and I 100% agree with that statement. I endorse this message. I still think Jeff Van Drew would have been the much better choice, and I supported Van Drew before the 2020 election. I thought he was going to run for governor. You know, y'all remember the Road to 2024 series I did? I had Jeff Van Drew winning in a blue wave year, or in a Republican White House, Republican presidency, second term as well, and I can't believe I fucking was dumb enough to think that like he would win in a second term blue wave like that, man. But then again, like if he were to run in a the first term red wave that we were supposed to get in 2022 or in 2021 in this case, he probably would have won. He's a great candidate, was a great candidate, still is. He's getting old though, which is a shame. Just can't believe that district he represents gotten so fucking red recently by working class down there. Oof. But my economics have gone very much, do you count trade as economics? Because my trade policy was always very protectionist, and Republicans are like, no, we don't support protectionism, we support fair trade. Well, what's the difference? I could never get a straight answer, right? They were like, well, it's free, but you gotta, go by these, regulations. And I'm like, that's protectionism, right? That what you're doing is protectionism. And me and my civics teacher, God, I miss my civics teacher. He is the best teacher I have ever had, and I credit him to making me the person I am today when it comes to politics, right? I credit him. But we were talking about trade agreements and NAFTA and the USMCA, and he was like, and he asked me, do you know what makes the USMCA different? And I was like, well, it's a protectionist bill. It's like, well, how so? Then I thought about it and I was like, man, I don't know. It's like, well, do some research, email it to me, and we'll have a discussion. I was like, okay. He wasn't mad. He understood that I was a high schooler. I was learning, right? Very cool teacher. He's amazing. But I did the research. I sent him an article. I think it was by CNN, because I didn't like to use CNN, and I still don't. But he did, so I used CNN because I figured he would find it more reliable. So I sent it to him, and next day I asked him about it. Hey, did you see the article I sent you? And he's like, so it seems like you're right the whole time. It's free trade if you follow these guidelines, which is just protectionism. And that was the first time I got a big win over my teacher. It wasn't the last time. It was not the last time, but it was the first time. It was a great moment for me, anyway. Not the best of moments, because, I've gone through better times in my life when it comes to, accomplishments, but that was a great one. That was a great one. Trying to remember. I guess we could talk about the trans issue. I was very much laissez-faire when it came to the trans issue. I did not give a fuck about it. I've met a bunch of trans folk. I've dated trans folk in the past. I really didn't understand anything about it. Still don't. Still don't. I've asked questions, and I feel a bit awkward asking about it, but they trust me for whatever reason. If they still trust me, I haven't spoken to them in a while. We just got our own lives. That's what happens, right? That happens. But, and then I'm like, okay, I'm very much libertarian on this issue. Let them do whatever they want, but I don't think minors should get surgery, right? I don't think we should take the rights from people who are citizens of the United States, whether they're trans or not. People were pissed when I said that on Twitter. Liberals were mad that I said that minors shouldn't get gender surgeries, and then conservatives were pissed off that I was saying that I was libertarian on the issue in general. It's a lose-lose situation with me, I swear to God. But yeah, it was... the 2020 election was the turning point in my political journey to this whole far-right thing. I didn't want anything to do with Democrats. I thought the Democrats were losers and all that. Now I'm moderate, and I'm like, yeah, we should just work together. It's starting to get annoying. So, thank you guys so much for watching. I'm sorry if this whole rambling thing wasn't what you wanted, but I hope those of you who enjoyed me rambling and trying to figure out words, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you at 800.